So let's talk about writing equations. A while ago, we learned the difference between linear and arithmetic and the exponential geometric situation. And what we did learn is that linear and arithmetic are adding or subtracting, and that exponential are multiplying or sometimes dividing, where you would use a fraction. We'll talk about that in a bit. But linear arithmetic, anytime you see a linear equation, you know it's going to be a line on the graph, so you're going to be using y equals mx plus b, which we are familiar with already. But then if you get a multiplication division type of situation like this one, where it's a geometric table or exponential, which is the way the graph looks, then you would have this. Maybe you remember that, ab to the x, where a is your y-intercept, and b is your ratio, which is whatever you're multiplying by. So let's look at these two tables and figure out how to write an equation for both of them. So if we look here, we look at the y's, we're adding by 5. We'll just do a double check here, 5. Here we're adding by 1. Okay, no big deal. So our slope is 5 over 1. And the b, of course, is the one next to the 0, so b equals 5. So we have that. Now, when we write an equation, we write y equals, the m is this, 5 over 1x plus 5. Now, on the right side, it's a little bit different because here you're actually, wait, are you adding by 4? No, that doesn't work. Actually, this one, you're multiplying times 3. Multiplying times 3. So now you know you have to use this particular equation. So the y-intercept is still the same deal. It's the one next to the 0. So y equals y-intercept 2 times, and then the multiplier 3 to the x power. And that's it. That's all you got to do with those. Now, it gets a little bit more difficult. Let me erase this. When you start having equations that divide. So if you look at this, you can see this one here on the right, the numbers are actually going down. And so let's look at what happens. First, let's do this first one. So this is 1 plus 1. No, that doesn't work. Let's try times 2. Yeah, this is timesing by 2. And you have a y-intercept of 1. So you have y equals the y-intercept 1 times 2 to the x power. Easy peasy. All right. Now this one is difficult. The numbers are getting smaller, right? And what you find out is this one's actually dividing by 2. But what we learned a long time ago is you can't have a division symbol. If something is dividing by 2, you got to change it to multiplying times a half. Maybe you remember that. Just like if it's dividing by 3, it turns into 1/3. If it's dividing by 4, it turns into 1/4. Divide by 100, it would turn into 1 over 100, like that. So this one is dividing by 2, so we're going to keep this as a fraction 1/2. So that is already our ratio. Now our y-intercept is this, so we start y equals 2,000, that's our y-intercept. But now we use this one because it's dividing 1/2 to the x power. And that is how you write equations for exponential functions.